Hi Chef, Chef John here. Today we're going to be, I'm going to demonstrate how to trim up a tenderloin of beef. So when you order a tenderloin of beef, a whole tenderloin in the industry, it's going to come like this, most likely. Vacuum packed, yeah? It's got a little bit of blood in it. This is about 1.5 kilos in weight. Yeah, so what we want to do is try and open this, just gently with our knife, and then try to keep the blood in the bag if we can, and not all over your bench. Yeah, that way you're showing a little bit of a professional sort of way of working. Yeah, so we can just push that blood down to the bottom. Okay, failing that, open it up in your sink. Yeah, so that all the blood goes into the sink. Paper towel now and dry off any excess blood that's still on there. This tenderloin of veal is going to come, it looks like it's ready to, there's very little trimming to be done on it, but there is still some trimming to get it to a chef's sort of standard, yeah? So if I can explain to you, the tenderloin, it comes as a Chateaubriand. We have the mignon or the tornado steaks, and then a little tiny tail end of the tenderloin, which we're going to be using today for our Veal Zürichoise. And as we go further up the tenderloin, we'll be cutting some medallions off of that for our piccata of veal. Yeah? So the first thing I normally do when I look at this is just see if I can trim off any sort of excess fat or connecting tissue. So I just have a look around here. So I'm going to keep that. This muscle here, sometimes this muscle on the end of the Chateaubriand, you can still keep on there if it's still in good condition and there's not too much fat or connecting tissue or sinew on it. Yeah? So I'm going to keep that on there. Just move this around the side. With the silver skin, you can see there's some fat, and then underneath this fat, there's some silver skin. Sometimes you might get it and there'll be quite a lot of fat on it. Hopefully there's not, because there's a little bit of wastage, and you're paying for the tenderloin by the kilo. You don't want to have too much wastage. But of all the cuts of meat, there's very, very little wastage on this. So this is how I would take off my silver skin, just by making the tip of my boning knife underneath, and then running it up to take off the silver skin. The silver skin really needs to be removed because it's completely inedible. Okay, so all these trimmings I can keep for my stocks and sauces. Okay. On the other side there's some connective tissue and fat. Just using my knife, just gently take it off. So the tenderloin is there, nice and cool. Looks pretty clean now, and as you can see, very, very little wastage. It's not even wastage because that will go great in your sauces. Now the top end here, apart from the muscle in here, is called the Chateaubriand. So if I was to cut that off, I would cut that like so. And you would work, if you work in a restaurant, some restaurants, they would sell the Chateaubriand for 2 people, and they would roast that off and serve it for 2 people and carve it at the table. So a great dish for Valentine's Day or something like that. Yeah? Today we're going to be using the tail end for our Zürichoise, so I'm going to cut it across the grain in just finger length sizes. Yeah, then I'm going to cut it with the grain. So I'm going to cut through there, and I'm going to cut it with the grain. So I get some nice strips of tenderloin meat. And this really requires very, very little cooking. And if you cut it like this, it'll be nice and tender. So I'm looking for approximately 100 grams. Tenderloin for today's dish, the Veal Zürichoise, which is that. We're also going to do some piccatas. Yeah, so I think with the piccata, maybe a little bit more. If I want to go a little bit more, I can maybe cut my piccatas first because they're a nice size here. So about 100 grams of Veal Piccata and maybe 150 grams of Zürichoise. So my piccatas, I'm just going to cut into medallion sized pieces. Yeah? So let's do 3, shall we? That should be about 100 grams. Okay. If I was going to maybe see these end pieces from the muscle, cut these up. We can also use the sirloin for the Zürichoise. Or the top side even. Okay, I think that's enough for Zürichoise and this for piccata. Just to show you a filet mignon or a tournedos steak, we normally cut around this size. That would be a lovely portion of steak. If you guys can see that nice eye of meat, nice and round, yeah. Be perfect. Cut that on there. So as you can see, very, very little wastage on this meat. So it is expensive, one of the most expensive cuts, but there's almost no wastage on it whatsoever. So a nice a la carte style meat, yeah. So that is what we're going to be doing today. Hope you enjoyed that. Thanks. So we're going to start into our piccata of veal, yeah? So this little piccata, this were the 2 medallions that we had before, yeah? So we're going to take these, put them on a little plate here. These are a nice medallion size, almost the size of a medallion, yeah? Okay, and they're nice and tender. They require very little cooking, so what I'm going to do is I'm not even going to bat them out or anything because they're a perfect shape. What I'm going to do is just lightly season them, and then we're going to make a little batter with some Parmesan cheese and some egg. I'm just going to put that in there. Yeah, so there we go. So it's nice and seasoned. So we're going to take my egg and I'm going to stick it into a batter, into a bowl. Actually, oh my goodness. There we go. Too much shell in there. Okay, that's all the shell out. I'm going to just beat this. I'm not going to need all this egg for just 2 little medallions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of it out. Okay, it's a little bowl. One moment. Sorry about that. I'll take a little bowl and I'm going to take some of that egg out. It's way too much. So you can fry that off later for yourself. I'm going to take my Parmesan cheese and add that into that batter. A little bit thick, maybe I can add in more egg. Okay. Just mix that in together, just enough to. I'm going to take the flour. That into a little bowl. The meat's already seasoned, so I don't need to season the flour. I'm just going to dip that in there. And then when you're coating anything in flour, always make sure you knock off that excess flour. You don't want to be eating all that flour. And if you don't knock it off, your crust will probably fall off the meat after it's cooked. What the flour does is just help that batter stick to it, yeah? Now, I'm going to heat up my pan. So I've got a non-stick pan today because we're cooking egg. If you can try and find yourself a non-stick pan, it will stop the egg from sticking to the pan. But you still need to follow the same rules, make sure your pan's nice and hot. And I've made this before and I wasn't too happy with the results. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of breadcrumbs into it as well. So I've got some fresh breadcrumbs on the side here. What I'm going to do is, just to help hold it in place, put a little bit of breadcrumbs, and I'll make sure if you pick up your food from here at Take that you'll have those extra breadcrumbs, even though it's not on the recipe. Yeah? So I like to do like that with the Parmesan cheese and the breadcrumbs. Yep. Do that there. Let's wash your hands. This works great with chicken breast as well. I normally coat my chicken breast in Parmesan cheese and breadcrumbs and fry it, and then carve that on top of my Caesar salad or something like that, so that's really, really nice. Yeah. So as you can see, that's looking beautiful. So the pan's getting nice and hot. Use a little bit of olive oil, just push this out of the way. Not too hot. We want our pan hot but not too hot, but if it's not hot enough, everything will stick to it. Nice little sizzle. Beautiful. And you cook these on both sides. A little bit. While this is cooking, I'm going to get on with the Madeira sauce, which is going to be served with this also. So I'm going to light the gas at the back here. You can multitask and do two things at once. You get a little pot, a nice little pot. Put that on here. Don't need this one, thanks bud. I'm using my fork to turn these over. You can use a little spatula or even tongs. Okay, it's got a good colour there. The egg colours very quickly, so we might not be able to cook them completely on the stove unless we're going to eat them medium rare. We could put them on a tray and then finish them in the oven. So for this dish here, for the Madeira sauce, it's very, very simple. I'm just going to warm up my pot a little bit. I'm going to put a little piece of butter. Pull that to the side now, let it rest slowly. I'm going to put a tiny little bit of butter in my pot. Put a splash of Madeira. It's quite an intense flavour from Madeira, so be careful not to add too much. It's not to everyone's liking. Now with this, again, they're cooked on both sides now. So what I'm going to do, like I did before, a little piece of paper. I'm going to sit this on here. Set my veal on the paper, and then I can place this in the oven just for a couple of minutes, just to finish the cooking. Yep. So let's put them in. And the Madeira and the butter. Glazed a little bit, then we're going to take our demi-glace or a nice jus that we have here. We're going to pop that in and bring that through the boil to reduce. As that just gently reduces and gets to a good consistency, I'm going to now take my piccata out of the oven. I only want it in for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to go on to the next step and show you how to complete the dish and finish it all off. Yeah, see you in a minute. Hi guys. So the piccata has been in the oven just for a minute. I want to just keep it medium rare. Yeah, so now what I'm going to do is, you guys have made diced tomato concasse before. Actually on the ingredients list at the beginning there was no tomato on there, but there will be tomato on the ingredients. So I just peeled that in boiling water, de-seeded it and diced it up. Take a little bit of olive oil, some salt and pepper on it, and then we're going to put that on top of the piccata along with the mozzarella cheese. So I'm going to go with mozzarella first. So I don't want to put too much on there, just about that much to keep it nice and neat. This cheese is just going to melt and go everywhere, and it's not going to be looking so great. So this is it's a classical French dish, but it's kind of food that you would see almost in a pub. And I'm going to put some of this nice tomato concasse on top of it. So I'm going to get that one there. And that'll cook out a little bit more in the oven for another minute, just to melt the cheese and warm up the tomatoes, and then we'll be ready to serve. The sauce has reduced down perfectly, so that's ready to go as well. So it's just a case of me getting my plates ready and my decoration ready in order to serve this piccata. Okay, so it looks pretty nice. Got extra ingredients there that I don't need. Put that on your toasted sandwich later. Beautiful. Right, I'm going to pop this in the oven again just for a little minute. Yeah. Just put a little oil on it. There we go. Thank you, guys. I'm just going to okay, my piccata is just about ready to come out the oven. I've got everything ready, a la carte style. I've got my plate ready. My sauce is just needing to be finished off. My garnishes is there. You need to have everything ready. So when that piccata comes out, be nice. The juices are retained in the actual meat. So I'm just going to let it rest for a little bit while I finish off my sauce. Very quick dish this, isn't it? Yeah. So the sauce, I'm just warming up again. This is a really good consistency, and I'm just going to drop in a little bit of butter, a little Montier beurre, right at the end, just to give this sauce a little bit of a shine, not too much. So as the sauce comes up to a little gentle simmer, just drop in your butter and just shake it in. Yeah. Check your consistency. And I think that's pretty nice. Yeah, perfect. Just yep. Now this piccata, the oven temperature for the piccata was about 170 degrees. Yeah, and cook it very, very quickly. It doesn't take long at all because it's a prime cut of meat. Okay, got a nice hot clean plate here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my sauce around. Yep. I'm going to take my piccata, and I'm not going to bother chopping parsley on top or anything. I'm just going to put a little bit of sprig on. Beautiful. That's one. Okay, no sprig on top maybe, just here like so, perfect. I always like to put a little bit of salt and pepper on the plate, old habits, and maybe a little drizzle of olive oil just around, just to sexy it up a little bit. How's that, chefs? Nice piccata veal with Parmesan cheese and a Madeira sauce. Okay. Hi chefs. Okay, Chef John here again. We're going to go into our fillet of veal sautéed Zürichoise style. So it's almost like a beef stroganoff here. So we've got some beautiful tenderloin of beef or tenderloin of veal, which was from our tail end, if you remember. We've got some paprika, some nice Hungarian paprika, which we're going to put into that, and we're going to soak it all in. Put some salt and pepper. Okay, I'm just going to mix all that in. Now, if you want to keep it gluten-free, you don't need to add any flour into this, so it really doesn't require it. I'm going to put just a little pinch of flour in, because it is in your ingredients list, but certainly not all of that flour, just a little pinch. Okay guys, perfect. And mix up all in. The flour will cook and thicken up as thicken the sauce up as it's reducing. Yeah. So okay, so that's the beef nice and cooking. You couldn't do that hours in advance if you like, and that will really get the flavour into it. Or else you can do it just in advance, just as I'm doing right now. The other ingredients we have, we've got some onions, mushrooms, a little of a butter, some cream and some demi-glace or jus, yeah, and some white wine. We're going to combine all these ingredients together in one pot. Again, I'm going to be using my nice non-stick pot. It's almost like a little pot, so that's what I'm going to use to do that. Yeah, so I'm just push this to the side, give my hand a little wash. So first thing I'm going to show you guys the mushrooms. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mushrooms for that amount, yeah? So look a good balance. We'll slice them up and we'll see if it looks too much or not. If your mushrooms come in a little bit dirty like this, just take off the tip, because we want this dish to look nice and a la carte, sort of standard, nice and clean. And you can just peel your mushroom like so. Yeah, and these mushroom trimmings can be kept for your stocks and sauces and stuff like that, yeah? Perfect. So I'm going to take the mushroom, we're just going to slice it. Nice and clean like that, yeah? If you want to go even a little bit fancier, maybe an extension of this dish, we can use some different wild mushrooms, gyros or chanterelles or shiitakes even, yeah? And put them in there so we could change the dish around a little bit, make it a little bit more interesting. Slicing, we're just going to keep to the cultivated chip mushrooms. And I'm not slicing them too thin or too thick, just want to see them in the dish. Does that look enough? I think that looks enough for this dish here, yeah, that amount of meat that we've got. Okay, so that's my beef, my meat. An onion, we need a little bit of an onion, just a quarter, not even a quarter of an onion. Okay, nice and small. Just take the root out of the onion. And we're going to centers out. We're going to slice it. And I like to slice this nice and fine for this dish. I don't like big chunks of onion through my fine dining a la carte dish. You can also chop the onions finely if you want. Variations to this dish as well. If you felt like you wanted to put some garlic in there, you can. Yeah, if you wanted to, you're taking away from the actual ingredients that's on our recipe, but you can certainly do that if you want. Okay, I'm just going to chop some parsley as well, nice and light, which I'm going to be putting in there just at the end. Just got some nice continental parsley here. Nice and light, and little stems as well. Okay, so that's ready to go. Okay, leave them in more. Right, so let's start cooking. My pan's been warming up. It's not too hot, so we start off with putting a little bit of olive oil in here. 2 spoons of olive oil, some of meat. I'm going to drop my meat in. If you're cooking a lot of this, you certainly don't want to overcrowd your pan, because we want to fry this. We don't want it to be sweating and a lot of moisture coming out. We want to try and fry it nice and hot if we can. No? I want to try and keep this meat medium rare, but I do want a bit colour on it. The paprika will colour the meat nicely, and if we can get some caramelisation going on as well, that will help seal in all the juices. Look, so the meat's getting nice and coloured now. I remember this dish from the 1980s when I was a young lad on the a la carte section. This was the kind of thing that we would do a la carte style and serve on a silver tray to the customers. So today I'm going to be serving mine in a bowl, not silver tray. I'm going to actually serve it with some pasta today as well. And that meat is starting to caramelize beautifully. Now we have to make a reduction sauce here with the cream, the wine and the demi-glace. I don't want to do it in the same pan because the meat will start to stew in that pan and it might get a little bit tough because this meat is actually cooked and ready to eat now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of the pan. If you were very skilled, you could maybe try and cook your sauce and keep your meat to the back if you wanted to. I much prefer just to take it out, let the meat rest. There'll be some juices come out of the meat which can then go into the sauce. So I've got my pan here. I'm going to take a little knob of butter into this pan. Okay, some onions. Saute them up. As I said before, if you wanted to add in garlic, you could actually add it at this stage. Because I've sliced my onions nice and fine, it shouldn't require too much time to gently saute here and soften up. Yeah, but you certainly do want to cook them out just to get that depth of flavour, get the sweetness out of the onions. Yeah, so you're not eating raw onion. I said before that this dish is, we're going to serve it today with some pasta. You can serve it with some rice. Typically, I think like a beef stroganoff would be served with some pilaf rice. Yeah. So, but today I've got some linguine, which I've cooked off already, and I'm going to just finish it off in front of you and serve it with this dish. Yeah. Okay. The onions are softening up nicely now. Add in the mushrooms. They don't require a lot of cooking. You can eat the mushrooms raw, so there's no need to cook the living daylights out. Okay. Then I'm just going to deglaze the pan now with some white wine. And then depending on your demi-glace sauce, if it's nice and thick and it doesn't require any thoroughly reducing, then you would add in your cream and then your demi-glace sauce. My sauce is a little bit thin, so it's going to need a little bit of reducing, almost the same as consistency as the cream, so I can almost add them both together. But like I say, if your demi-glace is really thick, then just add that in at the end. I'm going to add in my cream now. It up. I'm just going to start reducing that. As it reduces, the oils and the fats will come out, the cream and rise to the top and it gets really thick. If you over reduce a cream sauce like this, easy thing to do, just take a little bit of water and bring it back to life again, yeah? If you over reduce it, the oils will come out and you'll start saying, oh, we're done, I've taken it too far. A little bit of water, boom, brings it back to life again. So that sauce is reducing nicely to a nice light cream sauce. You can almost put some pasta in that and eat it like that if you wanted to. Right now. Now we're going to add in the demi-glace. Okay, and I'm just going to reduce that down a little bit, and then I'm going to start getting things set up, and then I'll speak to you in a moment. Thanks guys. So the sauce is reducing down beautifully now. We're getting a nice consistency. It's starting to coat the back of the spoon a little bit. Okay. And at this stage I've got some boiling salted water. I've got some linguine here, okay, which has been pre-boiled. So I'm just going to drop that into that boiling water. just to bring back up again. And the sauce is reduced to the consistency I want. Remember I said there'd be some juices left in this. Oh, look at that. Put those juices in there, just intensify the flavour. This meat in until my sauce is absolutely perfect. So I'm not cooking it for too long. Spatula here. That flavour off the side of the pan. Something pretty nice. Let's drop the meat in now. Yeah. And let's drop in some chopped parsley. Get it mixed in there. Yeah. Side. I'm going to heat up and really quickly put a little piece of butter in there. Pasta. Piece here. Okay, looks good. Pasta's already cooked, so all we're doing is reheating it back up again. Just going to take it and pour it into my colander. In the center. I'm going to just coat that pasta in some butter, salt and pepper. Parsley. And some lemon. Lemon juice, fresh pasta. And with a little bit of lemon juice in my as well, just to heighten all the flavours that's in there, freshen them up. That'd be beautiful, perfect. Ready to serve now, guys. Okay. Pasta, very easy. So spin that around the pot. And just drop it into this lovely bowl here. Zürichoise. There's a good balance of sauce, ratio of sauce to meat. Yeah, so there's easily, that was 150 grams of meat, but I'm not a big eater, but I would say there's easily enough here for 2 people. Yeah, I'm going to make sure I get all that sauce on there. Finish it. Wasting anything, so all that flavour off that pan. So the great thing nowadays when we're cooking with non-stick pans and non-stick spatulas is we can get everything out, we don't waste anything. And it's good for the environment as well, because all these little bits don't go down the drain. Could just finish this off with a nice little sprig of parsley, perhaps. Maybe we've got some paprika here, just to finish off. And you know me, I like to put a little bit of olive oil. Some of that pasta is beautiful. Okay guys, Zürichoise of veal with, we have some boiled pasta, tagliatelle, just sauteed in some butter. Yeah. I hope you enjoy making that. I'm sure you'll enjoy eating it. It's absolutely delicious. Good comfort food. Happy cooking and take care of yourself. Signing off, Chef John.